Imagine this. A massive wooden longship appears on the horizon. Its sail is stretched tight against the wind. The men aboard are unlike anything seen before, tall, strong, with fierce eyes and shining weapons. On the shore, warriors with bows, spears, and painted faces stand ready. Two worlds about to collide. Two warriors, one Viking, one Native American, lock eyes. The first contact is not peaceful. It is war. What really happened when the Vikings met the Native Americans? Were the Vikings unstoppable, or did the Native Americans prove to be their match? Let's find out. Over 1,000 years ago, a Viking explorer named Leif Erikson set sail from Greenland. His father, Eric the Red, had already settled there, but Leif wanted more. He wanted new land, new riches. After weeks at sea, he and his men landed on a strange new shore. They called it Vinland. The land was rich, tall trees, wild grapes, plenty of fish. It was perfect, but they were not alone. One lesser-known story tells of a Viking scout who wandered deep into the forests, searching for fresh water. He never returned. Some say he got lost, but others whisper of an unseen enemy, watching, waiting, striking when least expected. The Vikings felt eyes on them, even in the dead of night. The Vikings had entered the world of the Skraelings. This was their name for the Native Americans. But who were these people? Most historians believe they were the ancestors of the Inuit or Beothuk, skilled hunters, powerful warriors, and masters of their land. They had lived here for thousands of years. They knew every river, every tree, every animal, and they were not about to let strangers take their home. The Skraelings spoke in whispers of spirits guarding their land. Some warriors claimed to have seen pale-skinned figures in their dreams before the Vikings arrived, a warning from their ancestors that outsiders would come. To them, the appearance of the Norsemen was not just an invasion, it was a test. At first, the two groups watched each other. The Skraelings had never seen men like this, tall, pale-skinned, wearing armor and carrying weapons of iron. The Vikings had never seen warriors like this, fast, silent, moving through the trees like ghosts. The first contact was peaceful. The Skraelings traded furs for Viking weapons and tools. But something was about to go very wrong. A Viking child, born on Vinland's shore, was said to have been the first Norse person to laugh among the Skraelings. Some say she played with native children, exchanging simple words, while warriors on both sides watched in silence. But peace does not last forever. One day, a Viking stole something from a Skraeling. A small thing, maybe food, maybe a tool, but to the Skraelings, it was a betrayal. In an instant, the peace was over. Arrows streaked through the air like silent death. Spears were hurled with deadly precision. The Vikings, caught off guard, scrambled for their shields, raising them just in time to block the first assault. The sound of wood cracking under stone-tipped arrows echoed through the trees. The battle was unlike anything the Norsemen had faced before. They were used to open-field combat, standing in shield walls and clashing head-on. But this was different. The Skraelings did not fight like European warriors. They fought like ghosts. They struck from the trees, moved without sound, and disappeared before the Vikings could counterattack. The forest itself seemed to come alive against the invaders. Shadows flickered between the trees, figures melting into the landscape, striking from angles the Norsemen couldn't predict. One Viking, a seasoned warrior named Ulf, swung his axe at a Skraeling, only to find himself striking empty air. Before he could react, a sharp spear pierced his side from behind. He fell to his knees, his war cry swallowed by the chaos around him. And then, among the Skraelings, a legend was born. They called him the Silent Hunter, a lone warrior who moved like the wind, unseen until it was too late. Some say he never spoke, not even in battle. Others claim he could vanish into the trees as if he were part of them. That day, he took down 3 Viking warriors, each one falling before they even realized he was there. His weapon? A single stone-tipped spear, wielded with deadly accuracy. The Vikings fought fiercely, their steel blades cutting through the air, their shields forming barriers against the storm of arrows. But the Skraelings were too many, too fast, too deeply connected to the land they defended. The Norsemen began to falter. For the first time, they felt what it was like to be the weaker force. They had come as explorers, then as conquerors. But now, they were just survivors, fighting to escape. The Viking leader, seeing the battle turn, let out a bellowing command. "Retreat!" His warriors hesitated. Vikings did not run from battle. But this was not a battle they could win. One by one, they turned and fled, their blood staining the earth, their war cries drowned by the roar of the Skraelings. And so, in a single moment, Vinland was no longer theirs. The land had chosen its defenders, and the Vikings had lost. The Vikings had iron, but the Skraelings had the land. They used it like a weapon, hiding in forests, striking fast, then disappearing. They knew how to survive here. The Vikings did not. Even worse, the Vikings had another problem. They were far from home. Every injury, every lost warrior weakened them. Supplies ran low. They couldn't fight forever. In one desperate moment, a Viking chief ordered an attack at dawn, believing the Skraelings would be unprepared. Instead, the Skraelings left false trails, leading the Norsemen deep into the woods, where they were surrounded. It was not just a battle, it was a trap. The Vikings realized they couldn't win. They had come as conquerors, but the land had beaten them. After a few years, they abandoned Vinland. The Skraelings had won. Vinland was forgotten. Only old Viking sagas told the story. For centuries, no one knew if it was true. But then, in the 1960s, archaeologists found something. Viking ruins in Newfoundland, Canada. Proof that the Vikings had been here. Proof that they had fought and lost. So, who was stronger? The Vikings had swords, shields, and ships. The Skraelings had speed, skill, and the land itself. And in the end, the Skraelings won. The Vikings were mighty warriors. But in this battle, the Native Americans proved that they were stronger. Today, we remember both of these great warrior cultures. The Vikings sailed farther than anyone in their time. The Native Americans defended their home against one of history's greatest warrior groups. This was a battle not just of weapons, but of survival. A battle of two worlds. And in the end, history remembers both.